Hi Pisces, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. It's going to be your reading for the month of September. So as I lay cards here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the meditation that came through as I was inviting in your energy here. So I immediately got the image of you inside of a bubble. You inside of a bubble in the middle of maybe the ocean. And I heard almost like, I want to say like elevator music or circus music or something like that coming through. It was like, you know, you're here in this bubble and you're sort of like, now I'm getting that song from Sleeping Beauty, I think it is. I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. You know that one? It's like, and you're just sort of like in the bubble, floating up, and it's like, you know, and so there's something about that song. I don't know if that's Sleeping Beauty. Maybe it's like Sound of Music or some, I don't know, some musical Disney shit, but, you're in your bubble and everything's, you know, peachy there. And you're sort of floating up, but there's some sort of thing of you being in your bubble. You know, this feels like familiar territory for you. It feels like, okay, I'm in my Pisces bubble. I'm doing my thing where I'm just sort of like isolating and floating in my own world. And at some point I got this sensation of like, ooh, the bubble's gonna pop. And I don't know when that is. But then it was like, I realized it was like once the bubble, you know how bubbles make their way up to the surface. It's like that's a cicada. I don't know if you can hear that, but my window's open. There's a really loud cicada outside. There's this bubble making its way to the surface, and it's like once you get to the surface, the bubble pops and suddenly you're on the surface of the ocean and like you have to deal with the elements. Like I saw you rising up and suddenly there's all these like seagulls everywhere and like the sky is just doing a lot of things. There's all this activity, like there's boats and there's like a huge barge goes by and there's all these people, and it's just sort of like you coming out of your bubble back into the land of the living, or rather just like resurfacing. And it's like, oh shit, there's all this energy here, and it's a jarring feeling, but it feels like it's because there's like some stuff you have to deal with in the land of the people. Last card for Pisces, please. Okay, 2 cards. This is, I think, more deep diving regarding love situation, but you're coming up to the surface now. So many of your readings recently, Pisces, have been like these deep dives. You've been going to the depths. Maybe that's why you're resurfacing now, because you've been going, I don't know why, if cicada energy is like important for somebody, or if you're just like, I never hear cicadas right here, and for some reason it's really coming through for your reading. I've been recording all morning and it's just like really coming through for you. You are resurfacing from this deep dive within yourself, that like deep solo journey, and I see you rejoining folks here. You are rejoining the land. It's specifically about relationship because the 2 of Cups is here. The Page of Cups and the 2 of Cups, and how that's coming through for you is like this deep dive. This is at the center of your reading for September, by the way. So this deep dive that you've been on with the Page of Cups, like down in the caves of yourself, of your emotional waters, really understanding yourself and the ways that you are, why you are the way you are, and specifically why you are the way you are in relationship. And now you're like coming up to the surface with some flowers. It's like you're You're coming up with some goodies that you got from down there in those depths, and I think you're going to offer them, or rather, those flowers are helping to bring you back into union, either with yourself or with someone else. The Two of Cups is that union of like forces within you that seem to be opposing. It's also a union with someone else. This feels very much like relationship is coming through for me. It's you now coming back into relationship with your person or with a person in a more balanced way. Because in this card, what always strikes me about this Two of Cups is the way that these people are able to be wholly independently themselves. Very different people, but very unique within themselves, but they're not all mushy merged, okay? They're very much like two individual folks that have decided to be together, have decided to stand next to one another, not like to become one, but rather two walking together as two in the same direction, all right? So that's what I'm getting here. It seems to me like you're coming back up the fruits of your emotional labor that you've been doing within yourself, this deep dive. I'm also seeing that deep dive here with Capricorn energy, because it's like that fishtail again, like diving down into the depths of the cave and like discovering the crystals that are there. And the Page of Cups and Capricorn energy are looking at one another. See that? So this is you like looking at your own shit, really, and you know, the South Node is in Capricorn right now, so this is you looking at your past shit. This is energy for a lot that's coming through for a lot of people right now. Actually, it came through in Capricorn, in Capricorn's reading big time. So if you're dealing with Capricorn, you know, or you have Capricorn in your chart, go check that out. But it's like here you are having done this deep dive with yourself about your past and about your upbringing and about past ways of doing things in relationship. And now you're coming up with some fruits of that labor, because look, 10 of Cups, what I'm seeing in this is the bubbles rising to the surface. So you're rising to the surface now. And this is like emotional fulfillment, you know, this is, look, it's rainbows, it's miracles, it's beautiful. Okay. So you're bursting up out of the surface here with the hands, bursting up out of the surface with revelations and emotional, something really emotionally revelatory to offer your partner here. You know, we have Scorpio energy right at the top. Again, some of you could be dealing with a Scorpio, or this Scorpio energy is talking about the deep dive that you just did. It's talking about going down into the underworld, because that's what Scorpio does. Goes down into the underworld and mines for gold. And then, because, you know, we have the pomegranate here, Persephone myth. Choosing to go down into that underworld to understand that world, which is such a different world from the one we live in. And up here, it's like choosing to go down there and really understand that world. It's thorny down there too. Look, that scorpion's in all those thorns. Thorny down there. But look at the eyes. You gain the insight. You gain the insight that you are seeking. And again, there's two eyes, two people. Some of you, yeah. That could be a person though, because it's right above the Two of Cups. So that could be the person that you're dealing with. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, this is what I'm seeing. See the Eight of Wands? It's like you're resurfacing with all of this stuff, all of this emotional stuff now to offer, Eight of Wands, fast communication regarding love. Coming in towards about your partnership. Communication coming in about your partnership, and it has something to do with what you understood at those depths, the insights that you gained down there. It's like you come up from the mine, the depths of the mine, with the crystals, and you want to share that with your person. And it's leading to some sort of new idea here, because we have the Ace of Wands and the Eight of Wands, which is like information coming in quickly, and it's changing things up. It's like a new spark. A new spark is lit, because look at this. It's lighting this up. Whatever this connection is, it's lighting it up here. It's like the phoenix is rising. This relationship is rising from the ashes. This bird up here is the phoenix. The phoenix is rising from the ashes with this new, emboldened, empowered flame in September. And I believe it's like it's getting you out of your traps, because there's also this other thing. There's this progression. By the way, my progression is going bottom to top. Can you see the energy that I'm seeing here? It's kind of going like, I don't have enough hands. It's kind of going like this. Rising up from the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords being like trapped. I think this energy's come out for you before. There's a rising up out of this prison, self-imposed prison, or I don't want to say self-imposed, but rather just like a prison that you really can't get out of, and it's one that's in your own head. Again, not to say that it's not real. It's just like a prison, 12-12, by the way. A prison that's inside of yourself, 12 being Hanged Man. First half of the year, kind of feeling like you're in this prison, a mental prison. And then there's this energy, see it? Rising up. And then it continues. Rising up. That bubble. Rising up to the surface. It's good. It means you're rising up out of this Eight of Swords energy. Swords being mental energy. And now this is strange to me. Maybe it'll make sense to some of you out there, but we're ending with Three of Cups in Leo. Leo reversed. Three of Cups could just be talking about like you coming back out into community, you coming back up to the surface into the land of the living, in community with people, reconnecting with people, reunions, celebratory reunion in this connection. But I think there's some sort of shift. There's like Eight of Wands and Ace of Wands at the corners here. Feels like there's a shift. There's a big shift in terms of your relationship, a big shift in terms of like community, maybe like the shift in your relationship, whatever that ends up being, shifts your community in some way. Maybe even with the Capricorn energy, maybe even shifts your work out in the world. And then we have Leo. Actually, I feel like I need a little bit of clarity on this. So can we clarify the Three of Cups and Leo energy, please? Oh, wow. That really took a turn. Hold on. Okay. Nine of Wands. You being like locked. Feels like Eight of Swords energy, like really behind a bunch of gates, a bunch of fortresses because of some wounding. Help, clarify, please. I don't understand. Judgment. Huge shedding of a skin. You're shedding some sort of defensiveness, is what I'm feeling. Some sort of like the ways you wall yourself off from other people and protect yourself from other people that don't really protect yourself, because sort of like you're enduring your own suffering by walling people out, but you're actually like still hurt. Now you're just alone behind a ton of barriers with your arm in a sling, because this person in the Nine of Wands literally has their arm in a sling. You're shifting out of that energy. It's like you're coming back into, I think that's what this is. It's like you're coming back into harmony. I think the Leo reversed is actually, I don't usually usually talk in terms of ego because I think it's confusing and convoluted and people take it really a lot of ways that I don't agree with. But there is some ego energy coming through this Leo card that's speaking about like beliefs that you have that keep you really rigid. And ego doesn't have to mean like inflated ego. It can mean this inflated ego in the way that we often think about it, but it can also, ego can also be like the ways we allow other people to trample on us. So like, take it how it fits for you. But there's something here about like your identity being wrapped up in this energy. Like you've been identifying, oh, hold on. I think I'm getting it. This is weird, Pisces. There's a duality present here that I'm trying to hold, because I think this has been your journey of trying to hold this duality that's present within you, which is also, I think, why the Two of Cups is showing up. Especially for those of you that are not in a relationship, it's like, here's how this is showing up. But even for those of you who are. Let's see if I can find words for this. There's a duality present within you where you over-identify with the people around you. And there's like a codependent energy of merging that doesn't feel, it feels like that is actually somehow isolating you. Do you see the dichotomy that I'm trying to understand? This duality of like your tendency to completely merge, because, you know, I'm looking at a tiny screen here, and so from what I can see, it's like there are 3 separate beings here, but I don't see them. I can't even see them. They're all the same color, and they're all blending into the background. So there's something here about like you not willing to be separate from another person or a community or a identity or whatever this is for you. Like too heavily identifying with merging energy actually ends up isolating you. I hope this is making sense for somebody, because that's exactly how it wants to come through. It actually ends up furthering your walls. It's like somehow this is your safety zone, like an habitual safety zone for you. And it ends up continuing to build walls around you because you actually are getting hurt by it. And you can't figure out why you're feeling hurt with the arm in a sling. And so actually, I think this whole process has been this like Leo, where did the Leo card go? That's weird. Am I nuts? Oh. Hiding. Okay, then that's why this is happening. That was weird. Did you see that? This is hiding. The fact that it's been your ego at play has been hiding under you being wounded. Somebody out there I'm talking to hides in this identity of like isolated woundedness, when really that's just your ego, or like that's just a way for you to try to get attention. Okay? Because you are somehow over-identifying or like merging identities with others' energy. And there's no judgment coming through from me to you, but this is the message that wants to be said for some folks, and this won't be for everyone. The beauty, and you know, like, this is not just Pisces, like we all do this. I've absolutely done this in a relationship. But it's like it's almost like a martyrdom that you don't even realize is ego. And so I think that's what you've realized or are realizing this month as you like resurface from this deep dive that has probably revealed this to you or is going to reveal this to you, and like specifically how this applies to you. And it's like, as you resurface as this like really resurfacing is you shedding a skin. You resurface as a different being, because that's an old skin. That's why Capricorn energy is here, that I felt is like, that's an old skin for you, Pisces. South node, old stuff. And that's the skin you're shedding, and you're coming up now out of these depths with a whole new understanding of yourself emotionally in relationship, and you're like ready to share that revelation and start new. Phoenix rising. That's what this is all about for you, Pisces. Start a new kind of relationship where you are able to maintain separate identities and be together at the same time. It's gorgeous. It's like exactly what we all hope for, want, and many of us anyway that are interested in romantic relationship or relationships with others. That's like kind of the goal, is to maintain a strong sense of self while also being in relationship with another. And I just see you in the month of September making your way towards that. It's so lovely. Yay. Good on you, Pisces. That's really hard work, everything that I just described. Okay. Interesting. Drink water. So, 4 cards from the liminal space coming out. Number 1, it's not about you. And I think this is partly that Leo energy that wants to come through, this thing about ego. I think this is just talking about the ways, it's kind of putting yourself on the spotlight for a second and seeing the ways that you affect other people. Like removing yourself from this for a second and being like, hold on, how am I affecting other people? So this is just like, it's sort of I was just about to say a shift in perspective for you, which is why, we got that 12-12 earlier, that Hanged Man energy, which is definitely a shift in perspective. It's like your world kind of turns upside down and you see yourself in this other light and you're like, oh, whoa. I didn't even realize that was happening. I didn't even realize that that was happening in my relationships, whatever that is. And this is very complex emotional, psychological stuff that I'm talking about here, Pisces. So I also want to highly encourage you to seek other forms of therapeutic release for this during this time. Cool, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're getting this form of insight. What are the other forms of insight that you can seek? Can you seek a therapist's perspective on this? Or how about another kind of perspective on this? Maybe an astrologer perspective would be helpful. A licensed therapist would be helpful. Getting some body work, just getting this at all angles so that you have help, because this is some very complex, deep emotional, psychological stuff that I'm picking up on here that I am not totally even equipped to adequately articulate to you. All right. So then this typewriter comes out I was talking about a shift in perspective, and it says perception is reality. Don't forget that. So it's how things are being perceived and how you perceive things molds your reality. So the shift in perception is really, really interesting. Haunted by Ghosts is coming through as the Capricorn energy, that past energy. This is you, the ghosts of your past. If you're finding yourself being kind of haunted by past relationships or people from your past, it's probably because they're here to teach you something. In my experience, relationships that have ended for me, if suddenly, even years later, I'm like, why am I thinking about that so much? It's because there's something up. There's some gold nugget from that relationship that is calling to me from the depths to go down and scoop that up and kind of kick up that sand again to find the treasure, to find the learning thing, to find whatever it is that's up for me at this time. Haunted by Ghosts, okay? Drink water. To me, this is talking about taking care of yourself during this emotional time. making sure that you are hydrating yourself, literally and metaphorically, during such an emotional upheaval for you, and like really taking care of yourself and really recognizing your humanity here, and you're just a person, all right? You're doing the best you can. And so as you go through these deep emotional transformations, you really need to take extra care of yourself at this time. Okay, making sure that you are emotionally hydrated. Great. Pisces, thank you so much for tuning in for your September reading here. If you're enjoying what I'm putting out, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out so much. I so appreciate you doing that. It just helps my channel to grow and expand. If you are liking my work and want to work with me, book a personal reading. Let's see how this is playing out in your specific life situation. Because like I was saying, this is very complex energy that's coming through, and it's going to resonate very differently for every person. So please do book with me. We'll hone in on how this is affecting you. My website link is down below in the description box. You can also work with me on Patreon and Instagram. Those things are down there as well. But Patreon is another platform. It's a more communal platform where we can work one-on-one as well through different kinds of options for getting personal readings from me. So go check out all of those things. I offer a lot of resources, so do take advantage of them. They're there for you, Pisces. All right. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. I'll check in as the month goes on.